afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Town of Fairmount Heights Mayor and Town Council meeting for the evening of May 18th, the year 2022. We would like to welcome everyone in and thank you all for joining us for this meeting tonight. We're about to get started. Tonight we have two council members that are not present. One council member, she had an accident. I think she's at Kaiser now. All right.
Kaiser getting X-ray.
Okay. She's fallen at work. The other council member Oscar, is still on leave because he had been out of the country, and I think it's taken him a couple of days to recuperate. So I hope to see him very soon. But thanks to everyone else who came out this evening. We're going to start with a moment of meditation, and we won't call it a prayer, but we want to say thanks to the Heavenly Father for allowing us to be here because He didn't have to do it. All around us, things are falling. We see this, and we have to be very much aware of how we conduct ourselves because He's holding all of us accountable. So I'm going to move on down past the opening, and at this time, Mrs. Tucker, I would like for you to call the roll.
Fairmount.
Present.
Councilmember Dodson.
Yeah.
Councilmember Stewart.
Present.
Councilmember Barnhart.
Present.
And Councilmember White.
Present.
Thank you all very much for being here this evening. At this time, I would like to see us salute the flag. Everyone will stand as we salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, undivided, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. You may be seated. We're going to continue on down the agenda, and at this time, we will have a moment of silence for all of those persons who are deceased that were up in the Top supermarket in Brooklyn. No, it wasn't in Brooklyn, pardon me. It was in Buffalo, New York. So we want to just give them our sympathy and to the families for such a tragic thing that happened on last week. Let them know that we are thinking about them and how horrible this whole crime scene was. Thank you all very much. At this time, we're going to continue on down the agenda, and we have some minutes that need to be approved. Mrs. Tucker, did everyone receive their minutes for March 15th, which was a work session, March 16th, which was a town meeting, April 12th, which was a town meeting, April 12th was a work session, and April 20th, which was a town meeting? All council members, did you receive your minutes?
Yes. Yes.
If everyone received those minutes, did you receive your? Okay. At this time, I will accept the motion for approval of those sets of minutes. May I receive a motion? I need a motion.
Yeah, but they haven't read it all, so.
Oh, I have read them all.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, I
Okay.
reviewed them all.
Do you?
But I guess the question is, because I'm new to this,
Do you?
when you approve the meetings, are you just basically saying this is what was said during the meetings? Because we never really received guidance on that.
Okay. On the minutes, what you have to do is say, this is actually what happened and I agree with it and I want them to go into the record as stated. So I need to get those approved, those sets.
So I second it.
Who put the motion out?
Oh, I make the motion.
You
to
make the
approve
motion?
The meeting minutes, sorry.
Okay.
It's late.
Say each one.
Oh, for April 12th work session, March 15th, and April 20th.
Second.
Okay, I think it was March 15th also.
15th,
Mm-hmm,
April 12th, and then the 20th.
okay,
That's what I have in front of me.
okay. And on the 2nd, that was Councilmember Wood Dodson?
Yeah.
It's been properly moved and seconded that the minutes from the aforementioned dates, which were March 15th, 2022, March 16th, 2022, April 12th, 2022, and April 20th, 2022, be approved. Are there any questions on the motion? If there are no questions, Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Martin,
Aye.
Councilmember Dodson,
Aye.
Councilmember Stewart,
Ah,
Councilmember Barnhart,
Aye.
and Councilmember Williams.
Aye. Thank you very much. The ayes have it. Those sets of minutes have been approved with all ayes. There are no nays and no abstentions, so those are approved. All right, we're going to move on down to our police department report. And at this time, Mrs. Sarumi, would you come forward and give the police department report? I'm so sad to announce that at this time, our he's our acting chief, Lieutenant Ivy. He has been unresponsive since last Wednesday, and he's on sick leave now, so I wanted to report that, and Mrs. Sarumi will be filling in to give his report from our work session.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Mayor. Greetings to new council members, to citizens that I've not met, and also with great sorrow, I'm giving and delivering the report for my friend of about 19 years, Earl Ivy. April 2022 monthly report. The Fairmount Heights Police Department totaled 235 calls for service for the month of April 2022, with a difference of 245 calls for the month of March 2022. The Fairmount Heights Police Department conducted patrols along with assisting the Code Enforcement Office, incoming calls to the station, along with continued concerns and issues brought to the attention of the mayor and council members. Field interviews were conducted of suspicious vehicles with occupancy along 5300 block of Sheriff Road, connecting to the Ebony Inn Business District. Continued patrols along the Eastern Avenue corridor for prostitution activities. A sound of gunshots in the 500 block of 62nd Avenue area, with 6, I guess that's shell casings recovered from the scene. A canvass of the area for any victims, property damage suspects were conducted with negative results. A domestic violence dispute involving both parties engaged in physical altercation with one another. The male defendant had fled the scene upon officers' arrival, while the female descendants, still on the scene, refused medical attention with non-life-threatening injuries. A recovered stolen vehicle from out of Montgomery County was recovered, which happened in this local area quite frequently. The State's Attorney's Office Carjacking Task Force Unit continues its partnership with Fairmount Heights Police Department. Our report indicates 2 carjackings reported in the town. The Maryland Municipal League Police Executive Command Staff Training was completed for 2022. A meeting with Assistant State's Attorney Ed Layden for charges of the defendant at 708 62nd Avenue, Fairmount Heights, Maryland, were reviewed and discussed. A crime summit hosted by County Exec Angela Alsabrook and Prince George's County Chief Malik Azi was attended by the municipal police chiefs of Prince George's County. The Human Trafficking Task Force, in partnership with the Fairmount Heights Police Department, meeting on information sharing, investigations, and prosecution of cases conducted with great success. Mediation meetings with citizens to resolve matters of concern of each resident within the town of Fairmount Heights. the Blue Line Sustainable Community Meeting with City Manager Doris Harumi on new action plans in the strengths and weaknesses of the town. On moving forward, more details by Mrs. Harumi will be shared. I will share that in my report. Participation for upcoming Fairmount Heights Day event with Councilmember Wood Dodson. Of course, that event was canceled. The Fairmount Heights Community Policing Unit welcomed the new citizens' arrival of Baby Ann, presented to Megan and Rick Soul, and new citizen baby arrivals of Landis, parents of Samantha and Ashley Patrick. The NAACP Criminal Justice Committee conducted meetings with the Fairmount Heights Police Department and their partnership moving forward for 2022. And he has some wonderful pictures was attached to the report showing the kind of person he was. He bought a gift for the baby. In addition to that, here he is holding the baby. That was the kind and loving person he was. That concludes the report.
Thank you very much, Ms. Brown. And thanks to everyone who has been inquiring about his condition. As soon as we're updated on anything, we'll keep everyone informed as much as we can. We're going to continue on down to the code enforcement report. Mr. Pinckney, would you come forward?
Good evening to the citizens, town council, the mayor. This is my report for the time period of April the 12th through May the 5th, 2022. This is a revised version. On April the 13th, 2022, the District Court of Maryland for Prince George's County awarded the town of Fairmount Heights the following judgments on the affidavits. Razzle-dazzle properties for $1,000 plus court costs for rent without a license. Luther Raymond, $1,000 plus court costs for vacant property registration. Eke Harris, $1,000 plus court costs for renting without a license. Michael Wright, $500 plus court costs for renting without a license. During this period, I've issued one building permit for Richard Van Goss at 5721 Cove Street for $133.24 for a fence. On May the 4th, 2022, the installation of the new vehicle charging station was completed. The demolition and grading of 6117 Josh Street and 715 through 719 60th Place has been completed. On April the 28th, 2022, our office sent a letter to Mr. Roberto Granados at 718 62nd Avenue, informing him of his illegal parking in the lot owned by Dr. Edward Mosley. He stated that he did not give anyone permission to park, store equipment, vehicles, or materials on his lot at 5601 Addison Road. On May the 3rd, 2022, I sent a letter along with a business application to RSC Electrical and Mechanical Company located at 6035 Dick Street, Northeast, Washington, D.C., 2019. They are the owners of the building located at 5426 Addison Road. I informed them that they must have a use and occupancy permits, and they are required to obtain a business license from the town of Fairmount Heights before they can do any business within the town of Fairmount Heights. On May the 3rd, 2022, I informed the public works supervisor. On May the 3rd, 2022, I was informed by the public works supervisor that the property located at 5450 Addison Road had been broken into. I went to the location with the public works supervisor to assess the conditions of the property and to take some photos. I could see that the front storm door and the entry door had been kicked in. I also observed that the side door had also been kicked in. I called the agent to let them know of my findings. I then informed Lieutenant Ivey of the Fairmount Heights Police Department that the agent stated that they would send someone out to secure the building. On May the 4th, 2022, there were several down there were several down FiOS lines in the 5900 block of 8th Street. It appeared as though the large box truck had taken them down. I placed a call to Pepco to be on the safe side, and they agreed that those lines were FiOS lines. On May the 5th, 2022, I placed a stop work order on a property located at 1007 60th Avenue for extending the rear deck and constructing a new set of steps. This is when the revision came in, because I also did a stop work order at the property located at 5909 J Street, building without a permit for concrete driveway. Our office discovered today that the owner of the property located at 708 60th Avenue, 62nd Avenue, had been deeded to a new owner by the name of Jorge Manchinko as of March 11th, 2022. And that's the property that's owned by Mrs. Wong. My question is, how could we go about cleaning up the 3 lots? My suggestion at that time is that we inform the new owner that he has a certain amount of days to bring the property into compliance, and ask him to install a temporary fence, install no trespassing signs, so that the previous owner, if she does not decide to leave the premises, that she can be arrested for trespassing. And also, this was a part of that revision. I tried to get in touch with the new owner, because on the stat search form, it had his new address is 704 Brooks Road in Capitol Heights. I visited that property, and the new owner said that he didn't own the property anymore. He had transferred it over to a new ownership. So I don't know what he's running. He's buying different properties, and then he's not leaving the forward address. So I can't send him anything because it would come back. I can't leave him in the mail at 708 because the post office won't deliver it if it's a vacant property. So, and on May the 5th, 2022, it was our, quote, staff meeting. The council asked me to check on the logistics for cleaning up 708 62nd Avenue. And I discovered that to place a dumpster in the street would be difficult because the street is so narrow, you can't get the traffic to move through that street if you have a dumpster in the street, and the dumpster would be too large to go on the sidewalk. And I also got in touch with Mr. Spriggs, the owner of the property located at 725 61st Avenue, the house right directly behind 708 62nd Avenue, and he stated that he would do anything in his power to help. I have received one estimate to clean up the lot, and I've checked with different abatements companies because this is what the council asked us to do unofficially until y'all decided what you wanted to do with the property. And most of your abatement companies, they deal with asbestos. They don't do with like cleaning, the ones that I came into contact. But I found one company, all-purpose cleanup, and they sent me an estimate. I forwarded it to Mrs. Walker. She probably will have it in her report. And okay, their charges would be, their price to clean. Okay, let me give you. Okay, here's their message. Junk removal. A full truckload, 17-foot truck, clean up all loose trash on property and vacant lot shared with property. Remove all appliances, furniture items behind house, woods and other large debris from behind the house. Price include up to 8 hours of labor and disposal fees. And that was for $2,120. And I checked with the mayor, and she said we shouldn't have to pay taxes because I think what Mrs. Walker told me. So it would be $2,000 because the sales tax would be $120. And I don't think you can find anybody else. Well, it might actually be some companies, but for all that debris, I think $2,000 is reasonable. And okay, and I have tried to get in touch with the new owner, Mr. Jorge Manchinko of 704, but that was to no avail. On several occasions, I tried to get in touch with his attorney, Karen Othman, to no avail. She is either in court, en route to court, or on her way back from court, and she has failed to return my calls. Last month, Mrs. White, who lives on K Street, asked me about the standing water at the intersection of 59th Avenue and K. I discovered that the storm drain on 59th Avenue is higher than the street on K Street. Therefore, the water cannot go uphill. That's why it puddles at the corner. During this period, I have escorted 3 different vendors on different days to evaluate the trees that need to be removed or trimmed, along with cleaning the walk paths. And that's the end of my report. Any questions? Thank you.
So I have one question. So we haven't cited that property because we can't make contact with the new owners?
No.
Them find it?
Yeah, that's why I went to the property that was listed on the search warrant, but he's not there. And the lady, she didn't want to give out any information. That's why I tried to get in touch with his attorney, Karen Offman, but she's not returning my calls. I'm quite sure if she was the attorney, she should have some information how to reach him, but she's not getting in touch with me.
Okay, so then I guess my question is, if that's the address he has on file, why are we not sending it there? He should be responsible for changing his address, right?
Yeah.
So
well,
if we send the citation to that address,
well, see, that's what we said. We were going to try to wait to find out what we were going to do, whether the town was going to, because the last meeting you said that since the county had did it twice,
Yeah, I know.
that you were going to do that. So I didn't send him any correspondence, so I wanted to wait to hear from you all.
right, but I guess no correspondence and no fines have been assessed since we discussed this
Right,
last
none.
week. Okay.
But that would be forthcoming if that's, the direction of the council.
So are we gonna notify him that we're cleaning the property up, and then after we clean it, any additional debris or any additional garbage that shows up will be on him
Yeah.
and he will be fined?
Yes.
And then where we gonna send that notice to?
Well, I talked to Mrs. Rumi. I think she was stating that we send the fines, and send the citation, and if it goes to the court, regardless of whether he gets it or not, it's going to be a lien on the property.
Exactly. That's the approach we should take with all of our properties that way. If we can't locate them, we just send it to whatever address they have on file.
Right, okay.
And it's up to them to switch it in the court, not us.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
If you can name like a roundabout number, and, well, let's go back 1 year, like I like to do in terms of, to compensate for Corona. How many times do you think you have fined this property in the last 3 years?
At least 7, 8 times, at least.
7, 8 times?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the last year, you say?
In the last 3
3
years?
years.
Oh, 3 years, okay.
Okay. How many times how many days have to go by before you can find the property?
60.
60, okay. Did that stipulation change recently?
Yeah.
Okay, and your reports, you have that it's 30 days?
In my report, 30 days?
Let's see, I wrote it down, let me see. You have 30 days. So in the July to August report for the, I believe, 2022, you have a recommendation letter.
July 2022 hasn't gotten it yet.
I'm sorry?
July 2022 hasn't gotten it yet.
No, I'm sorry, July 2020, July to August 2020.
Okay.
You have said that it is a civil citation every 30 days?
60.
Okay, so it's 60.
60 days, yeah.
Okay, so if we were, because I'm thinking, if we know this property is there, and every 60 days you were fined it, so that's about 6 times a year, is it? I believe the property can be legally fined. And how much are fines usually?
I try to get $1,000.
$1,000?
That's the highest you can go, is
Okay,
$1,000.
so when I did my calculations, let me get out the, so what is that? That's $6,000 a year. And from what we have here, it hasn't really been fined in the last 3 years really at all. And these records, it's about 3 times. So, we're just losing money
at this point. But in terms of that, at this point, the liens on the property will have taken care of all the cleaning and things we've done for it. And so is it, for things like this, I understand, you know, you don't want to mail it and then it goes to the, you know, the mailbox or whatever, and it gets sent back or whatever. But at this point, if you're just finding the property, it gets sent to the courts anyway, correct?
Mhm.
Okay, so,
But that's because of, now you got to realize we have a new owner now. Because with Ms. Wong, she wasn't stable, so she wasn't
Okay.
going anyway. But with a new owner, I think some headway can be made with a new owner.
okay, when did he buy the property? Do we know?
Yeah, I showed her in my
This year?
report.
Okay.
It was March the
March.
11th,
Okay.
2022.
And then I was driving around the town, and there are some other properties. So when I was doing, you know, writing up my reports, because I was just, you know, looking at the what you've been finding, and is there some aversion to the historic properties? Can you say a little bit about that?
Be specific. You know, which one are you talking about?
Well, I mean, I don't like to be partial, but the best example is, what is it, 5907.
K Street? Yeah, well, see, he was having that renovated.
He was having it renovated he bought it in 2017.
I don't know when he bought it.
He bought it in 2017, so 2017 is 2022. It's been 5 years, and I saw no mention of that property.
Well, see, a lot of times you might not find him, but I have a verbal conversation with him, like Mr. Lightfoot was the contractor.
Okay.
And Mr. Sarumi asked me to call him, and I called him. But one time he was just packing up large black plastic bags, and I talked to him, and he removed them.
Okay.
But-
So ordinance says you cannot have property, you know, dirt, gravel from the property falling into the street, into the sidewalks, things like that. There are multiple properties where that has taken place. You cannot have large bulk trash items out in the porch in the yard. Those are present at that property. Just for, you know, specifics, I just feel like we are losing a lot of money by not finding these, you know, these properties, and especially at some point a lien goes on them, and then we can take steps forward and maybe, you know, as a town, acquiring the property or having the owner clean them up. So if he purchased it in 2017 and it's been 5 years, and let's say, because with a historical property, I believe you get a grant. I believe you can apply for a grant.
Yeah, you can apply.
You can ask
You
Mr.
can
Sarumi
apply
about
for a
that.
grant. But what I'm saying is, if the property hasn't been cleaned in 5 years, and usually grant stipulations are about a year or so, maybe 6 months extra under extenuating circumstances, there's no reason why the property should not have been fined. And that is a small example of other properties in the town like it. So that's why I was asking, you know, is it because it's historical? Why are there no fines, you know, on it? And, you know, because I notice you label other notices of violations in your reports. So you have the owner or the business, and also the address and the reason why you are giving them notice. But there is no mention of that home with the Wongs. It's a little different, but there's only about 3 or 4 in what I have for them. So, you know, I just would like to see some movement on those, you know?
Okay.
Because right now I'm finding it hard to believe we're just letting money sit there when we could be, you know, putting liens out on these properties. But, you know, it's something to look forward to in a very, very, you know, near future. But thank you, sir.
I have one more
Yes,
question.
ma'am.
How long does it take for you to do one fine?
What you mean?
Like to write it up and give it to the?
Well, first I go take a photograph of it.
Uh-huh.
And then I come, most of the times, when I come in, I go through the town, I take photos, and then when I come back, I send them a notice of correction action.
And we mail it to them, or we
Yeah.
just put it on their door?
No, we had some door hangers, but with the weather, they get wet, it doesn't work. Because
So-
it's a carbon copy. So I don't even use that. I'd rather just mail it to them, then I can have it in my system to show the date that I sent it and all of that.
So how long does that process take from riding out,
It's
seeing
usually
it?
72 hours. Oh, wait a minute, go ahead, say it.
So how long does it take for you to ride out, see it, come back, write the report, and then?
Well, it's not just one report. I try to do it as multiple reports. Right? Like this week, I've been doing, I should have like maybe 20 that I've did just on, since Monday on grass. Because,
just grass?
Yeah, because you had, it rained last Saturday, Saturday before last, so everybody's grass is high.
Right, and how much is the fine for high grass?
I don't give them a fine
Initially?
initially. Yeah, you give them a notice of correction action.
Okay,
And then they have 72 hours after the time that you mail a letter. But sometimes I give them maybe a week, 5 to 6 days, because you'll never know when the post office is going to get the letter to them.
okay.
So I give them a leeway with that. And then so most of the time I try to come like $200, because I don't try to do 25, because I think the laws, you go from 25 up to $1,000.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Let the record shows that the documents, it's a fine of $500 for tall grass alone on, just standalone from the records. And it's also $500 for failure to cut.
This is PG County?
No, this is in your records. This is yours. I can give you, because I put it into an Excel
Okay,
sheet for
okay.
you. Let me look it up. This is, let me see. So this one specifically, and you may change or whatever, the extenuating circumstances because of the pandemic. This is September to October 2019 for this one. And tall grass alone is $500, and tall grass against the fence, someone might not have a hedge cutter, or I forgot what you call those little things, but when they cut their grass normally, but the grass against their fence is high, that's a $500 citation as well.
And that's in the records he provided to you?
Yes, ma'am, would you like to see it?
Yes.
You have
All right,
records for
okay.
abandonment cars?
I do. Let me see. Because I was focusing on the private fines, but I definitely believe I have it. Now, the further we go back, there's, obviously there's less months. So for 2019, it was, kind of easier to pick apart, because I believe for 2019, I have 1, 2, let me see, 3, 4 months, I believe. Let me make sure, because I put an Excel sheet.
Okay. Is there any way we could sort of get together? You all probably need to review whatever's in those.
Yeah, but I thought you were going to stop by.
Yeah,
Well, these are his official, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
But we can definitely look over it.
Mr. Pickney, what are your core hours?
From 8 to 1.
8 to 1? Thank you.
Monday through Friday.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, I apologize. It's October through November.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. Okay,
Anything else?
all right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, I think if there was nothing else for Mr. Pinckney, thank you very much, Mr. Pinckney. Okay, and any issues, just like I said at the previous meetings, if you need to send Mr. Pinckney an email, please do. And if you'd like to select a time where you can have a sit down, if he needs to review certain items, you have numerous questions, like concerning the price of the grass and how it's reflected, that can happen also. And I think it's a good idea to do that, especially if you have several points. Okay. All right, so if you could just send them the email. All right, thank you, Ms. Walker, you can proceed.
All right. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and citizens. I'm reporting as of the end of April. Mayor and Council, I will give you, this is an updated report. Thank you to Mayor and Council for meeting with me last Friday. We had an opportunity to begin for the new council members to begin taking a look at the budget. So I'm just going to give you a summary. We will be going through these numbers in more detail at our upcoming budget meeting. But as of the end of April, our net income is $310,304. Our total assets are $1,488,853. That includes $303,000 from the ARPA funds. Those are restricted funds. Our current assets include funds in our operating account, our payroll, other restricted accounts, for instance, police seizure, economic development, public safety, highway user, and our scholarship account. Keep in mind the scholarship account is the account that will be used for you all to award the upcoming scholarship. Also, we have been awarded grants for this year, $12,000 for the Veterans Monument, and I will say that I spoke with the grantor today. We have only received one response from the solicitation for bids. The grantor has been very helpful. They're going to send additional vendors. She was sharing that she believes because the award is so small, it's probably deterring some of the vendors from bidding, but nonetheless, we still have to receive the bids in order to be able to move forward. A little disappointed that we're not able to have the monument done in time for Memorial Day, but we will get it done. And we also received a $5,000 art grant. That's something that Mrs. Waiters has been sharing, and she'll continue to keep everybody updated as she moves forward with that. At the, I believe it was the staff meeting, I shared information with the council. There will be an upcoming tax hearing, and the constant yield is meant to generate the same amount of income. So if you have your tax rate, for instance, is set at 43 cents. To generate the same money next year, if the tax rate, if 43 cents generates more money, then that's considered a tax increase. So even though the mayor and council, even though they're not changing, they haven't voted to change the tax rate, PG County, once they did the calculations, to keep the tax rate where it is, it will be considered an increase. So which means you are required to have a tax hearing. In order to keep the income at the same level, the tax would have to be set at 40 cents. So the mayor and council will be having a public hearing to share information about the tax rate, and then to take a vote on whether the tax rate will stay at 43 cents, if it will be reduced to 40 cents, which would be considered the constant yield, or if it'll change to a different amount. The difference between the keeping it at the 43 cents and at 40 cents would be $38,683, and that's an estimate. It's not written in stone because it's based upon the value of the properties. It also takes into consideration the homestead tax credit. So, but that's the information that the mayor and council and other information they'll be sharing with you at the upcoming tax hearing, and then there will also be an upcoming budget hearing for the fiscal year 23 budget. That's something we have to do every year. In addition to looking at the fiscal year 23 budget, we are in a position to do some long-term planning, so we can do a 3-year plan and or a 5-year plan. So that is something that I'm very hopeful that we will be able to do. And then our next biggest task after we have the budget in place, after we have the taxes in place, our next biggest task is going to be for the mayor and council, for us to sit down and talk about the ARPA funds, and then to have public participation in the use of the ARPA funds as well. So that's just kind of a quick summary of where we are, and we'll do some more deep diving into the numbers and be prepared for our upcoming hearings. So those are what I wanted to share. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Walker, when was the last time we had an official audit of the books?
It has to be done every year. Audits are done.
Every year?
Mm-hmm, that's
and is this
required.
an outside auditor or?
Yes.
Okay, and then the findings of that report, is it provided to the council?
It's available, if anybody wants a copy of it, yes. It has to be available in the treasurer's office. Anybody wants a copy can have a copy.
Okay, and is this information, public information as well?
Yeah.
Why don't we put this on the website for the residents in the town to see it?
We can. It can go on the website.
And then, are we eligible to see the bank statements to verify
You
like
can.
what comes in, what goes out? And is that during a budget hearing?
No,
Or-
you can request to see those. There's certain information I have to take off, so you have to let me know. If you want a copy of it, I have to take information off. If you just want to look at it, you can, because certain information I have to take off. I have to
And what
redact
type of information would you be taking off?
account numbers
Okay, that's fine.
and the copies of the checks. I have to take off
Okay.
certain information off of the checks as well.
All right, so in your next report, I guess for next month, can you give us the, I guess the rundown of the audit, so the residents will know what came out of that last audit? And you said, when was it, what year was it?
Fiscal year 21, it's done every year. So like,
21?
we're in 22 now, and so fiscal year 22 will be done at the end of the fiscal year. Fiscal year 21 is the last one that was done.
And September is the fiscal year for us? Or
It
that's
ends in
okay.
June.
Oh,
Yeah,
June,
yeah,
okay.
it ends in June.
So we're due for another audit here?
But yeah, it'll happen later on in the year, because they never do it right when it ends. They have to give you a chance to close the year, get all your bank statements in, get all of your journal entries, adjusting entries done, and then they come out and do the audit. For the past couple of years, it's been virtual just because of COVID.
Okay. All right, and then my last question, Mr. Pinckney gave us a quote for roughly $2,000. How soon can we move on getting that property cleaned up?
So that's just one quote. I can't do anything off of just one quote. We'd have to get more than one quote. I'm not sure if you all are going to vote tonight to move forward or not to move forward, but out of the staff meeting, if it went into your work session, whatever decision you all made in your work session, then that consensus is what will come on the floor tonight. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And then from there, if you all say that you want to move forward with spending town funds to clean that property up, then that's what we'll move forward with. If we're unable, for instance, there was one vendor that I reached out to that we've used in the past, but they didn't give a response. They are normally pretty reasonable. I'm surprised if they didn't respond. They may or may not be as low as that vendor, but certainly if we're not able to get responses, we still have to move forward if we don't get responses from other local vendors. So he reached out to that vendor. I reached out to a couple other vendors that we have used in the past to get quotes. So I'll wait for you all to decide tonight, and if you all say move forward, then we'll start that process. So my question, I do have additional questions, depending upon what you all decide, but we can talk about that outside of this meeting. It's not confidential. It's just I'm not going to take up time to ask questions that you guys may already have answers to.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Walker. Mrs. Rooney?
Okay, good evening again, Mayor, Council, citizens. A full comprehensive report for the period April 3rd, 2022 to May 5th, 2022 is on file with me or with Mrs. Tucker. So I'm going to amend the report, include some things that I did not discuss at in my last report. First, I want to go to the Prince George's County Summer Youth Program. The mayor signed a MOU agreement with Prince George's County Youth Employment Program for participating youth, and the youth must register with Prince George's County Summer Youth Program. Councilman Wood Dawson, this is for you. I sent you an email this afternoon. There will be an pardon me?
No, I was.
Okay, I sent, there will be an orientation for partners and for program participants and students, and it will take place on June 6th. The closing date for registration, council member, is 5/2022. let me know if you can attend so I can register you on Friday. I will be attending. This will be a virtual meeting for the most part, but I will be participating. Okay. Now, updating to Verizon Channel 11. The good news since I last met, and I'm going to link the Verizon Channel 11 update with the updated information for the website. The good news is, after having meetings with Mr. Gray of Steel Beach Productions, he was able to download and send me all of the video tapes for all the meetings dating back, I think it's sometime in 2020. So I've started with downloading those videos, and I want to thank Councilmember White, who came in yesterday to provide me with some technical expertise. But I found today from Civic Plus that they were having also a technical problem on their back end, and they fixed it. So if you go to the website now, you will see from January of 2022 to April, the videos are connected. I will be working over a period of 30 days, because my schedule does get quite hectic, to actually download any minutes or videos going back to 2020. So I'm really happy about that. Job announcement. During this period, the position of labor for the Department of Public Works was filled on April 20th, 2022. Kevin Miles was hired. He has demonstrated his ability to work hard at any task assigned. He was, to me, among the most valuable employee on Earth Day, and I want to thank him. That position was advertised on the website, and his application came through the website. The town is seeking candidates for the position of Chief of Police. The announcements were issued or posted on the town's website, Public TV Channel 11, Prince George's County, and MML. Ms. Tucker and I worked on yesterday to get those two positions of the clerk for the council and the chief of police to republish or re-advertise. And from my end, I will have posted on the website by 3:30 p.m. tomorrow the position for the chief of police and for the clerk to the council. And how this really works is we put in the date, and in the body of the job announcement, we would say this position is open until filled. Right now, and we live in a world where the market is difficult to fill positions everywhere. So that's a standard practice. Positions will be open until filled. I think Ms. Tucker, she'll probably talk about it. We did receive a few matches yesterday. By the time we went home, we received a few matches for the clerk position. I did receive in the past 2 applications for chief of police. You can meet me outside of the meeting, and I will gladly present you with the applications that we received thus far. The public works staff has started painting handicap parking spaces around town during the month of March. The spaces in front of Town Hall completed, but I want to dwell on this. An outcome of Earth Day is that we're doing a beautification and landscaping at Town Hall. It is up to us to set the example as to how the town should look. So for Earth Day, you see that we have decorated and planted 2 beautiful pots. Since then, with the help of Mr. Pinkney and others, we have raked the area. We have put down weed killer. I don't want to use a brand name, but we've certainly sprayed the area. We've gotten rid of weeds, and so now we're going to put in some topsoil, and we're going to start landscaping. So we're going to edge out and plant flowers on each side of the walkway, because as the town hall, as representatives of the local government, we should set the examples for beautification. I want to also talk about the installation of the Pepco charging station. I'm happy to announce that the charging station in the rear of 6100 Josh Street is up and available and ready for use. The rear parking space will be realigned. And also, Ms. Sarker, please, if there are any events in the building, the parking spaces designated for charging the station should not be used for parking. So we're going to have to figure out how we can put up cones or something to prevent parking. The federal emergency management, I think Mrs. Stewart, this relates to your department. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, founded the 2021 Building Resilient Structure Communities, BRIC. We will support BRIC will support state, local communities, tribes, and territories as they undertake hazard mitigation projects. So I have been working with the county to put together their application for funding, so we're still waiting to hear. Update on the Net Zero Housing Initiative Partnership. The location of the Net Zero Housing units at 711 60th Place and at the corner of Josh Street, they were demolished. Again, talking about derelict properties and blight. We have removed several blighted properties in the town. And Charity Hall is a good example, working with Mrs. Walker, Mr. Pinckney, and I, and at that time, Lieutenant Ivy. We worked hard with those owners until we had those blighted properties. So yes, historic blighted properties, we can take them down, we can demolish them, but there's a process because those properties are normally owned by individuals. So there's a process, and we will look into what we can do about K Street. Back to the Net Zero Housing Initiative. The proposed time for construction now is to start in fall of 2022. During this period, of course, they planted the grass seed, and they have certainly cleared the area, and it looks great. So now we need to wait on the next step is for the electrical and water lines to be installed for each house or each property. And also, one great outcome from PEPCO, we did receive through PEPCO and MEA a $200,000 grant for a new project called the microgrid. Supposedly it's the first in the state, and also supported by an electrical company out of Florida. So yes, you know, I think somebody asked the question, do we get fees? Those fees do not compare to a $200,000 grant that you get through PEPCO. In addition to that, PEPCO has also, Mayor Martin, made available for historic Black college students who wish to attend scholarships. So we need to get with Mr. Ruffin so we can sort of identify any students that may qualify for that. Okay. Ms. Walker already talked about the Veteran Memorial project. Also upcoming grants, and this is related to the Green Team. The U.S. Department of Agriculture announced the availability of the USDA People's Garden Initiative. They took that off of our website. The simple act of planting a garden can have a great impact from building a more diversified and resilient local food system to empower communities to come together. And included in my report, I talked about the Sustainable Community Program application for designation renewal. The application is updated every 5 years in accordance with the Prince George's County and through the U.S. Department of HUD. Their housing plan must be updated every 5 years. The application was last renewed July 2017. Some of the accomplishments included the creation of the African American Heritage Trail, historic markers, community pocket park, tree planting, tree canopies, one new business moved to town. We had funding for the net zero housing, creation of an energy district, and we redirected traffic, installed 2 new signs. Now, since or after 2017, we have the MEA grant to install interior lighting. I'll often say to folks, when you come into my office or come out here, what do you see? The lights go on, the lights go off. That saves our energy, and also it helps us with the footprint, reducing the carbon footprint. So I think Susan grant was like 27,000. I'm just giving a price. yeah, we got around $27,000. In addition to the art grant that Ms. Walker talked about, Mayor Martin, don't forget, we are still in line for a $30,000 grant for the bus shelters. So we got to move that forward.
Yeah.
We had the installation of a stormwater system at the ravine, and that was north of $1.2 million. We had a grant through the African American Historic Preservation Commission to renovate Veterans Memorial Park, and we are planting additional trees at the ravine and the Pocket Park. We created the farmers market, just to name a few things that we've done. And that's for the most part concludes my report.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you find homes with Mr. Pinckney? Let me get that straight. Like, do you go out with him and find homes?
No.
Okay. So why, when I asked him about historical homes and why they were not found, why did he refer to you?
I cannot answer that question as to why he would do that.
Okay.
However, we do work closely together.
Okay.
Because I go out almost every day, and I do take a serious look at properties that are derelict or that are in disrepair.
Okay.
Now, I do know for that property on K Street, they were awarded a $40,000 grant through the I think through the state of Maryland, the Historic Preservation Commission. Okay, so it's at a standstill. I think the last time I talked to the owner, he was still trying to find additional funding to renovate the historic property. Renovating historic property is very expensive because you got to have the piered windows, piered doors, piered bricks. So
Yes, ma'am. I loved that class, historic architecture, when I took it in college. But I really want to know, in terms of that, well, we go into the grant. You mentioned the grant. I know you have 12 months, 6 months extenuating, as I said before. So either that money is gone or, I don't know.
oh, he can apply for additional money.
Yeah, but I know it has to be used in a certain amount of time on, just on that specific property. I don't want to delve too deep into that property because it wouldn't be fair, but I think it's a fine example. Also, who is Mr. Lightfoot?
Mr. Lightfoot is the person who, he does historic properties.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, he is listed with Prince George's County Historic Preservation Commission. So he does historic properties all over the state of Maryland.
Oh, okay. I didn't see his name when I looked at it today, so that's why I didn't recognize it.
And the name of the company is All Phase Construction. And they are licensed, bonded, insured, and they are located in Bowie.
Okay, I didn't see that one either, but I'll make sure to look for it. So, I just wanted to know, because it seems like those are so intertwined. I understand the importance of preserving homes, but at what point, if they're already getting money to fix up these homes and they're not getting fined to rehabilitate them, because he referred to you as the reason why these homes weren't being, fined. And I really like to know more about that. Is there a specific reason?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
And I really don't want to prolong our conversation in here. I will get with Mr. Payton to clarify exactly, what that statement meant.
Okay.
And I'll gladly get back to you.
Okay.
Okay. Historic preservation happens to be my passion. I live in a historic house. And you want to know how long it took me to renovate it?
Well, where do you? Can I not your address, but what?
No, Chester. I live in a municipality.
Okay.
Some of us live in municipalities outside of Prince George's County. So I live in a municipality in Chesapeake Beach.
Okay.
And
so
it was
you
the
don't
first
have
year
direct, interest in this town.
I have every direct interest in this town. First, I'm an African American like you are. Second, many of my relatives immigrated and migrated from Southern Maryland here. So I have a direct interest in this town. Yes, I do.
Well,
Every single day.
financial-wise, in terms of property, but yes. Okay.
Okay?
Also,
Yes,
I'm so sorry. In terms of, I was wondering, did you get any updates on scheduling? Because when you have these site programs, you know, the site engine, so Civic Plus is what we use specifically. You are able, and you know, I love this when I used to update websites. You were able to sit down and, you know, just add everything onto the website. And there's usually an option they ask you, when do you want to post it? And you can say, I want to post it tomorrow.
Yes.
I want to post it in 2 weeks. I want it to go live so-and-so.
Yes.
In terms of, because we'll go over this a little bit more in my report, but how has that been faring with you?
Oh, it really works well. Okay, so for an example, that's why in my report, I said I will have those job descriptions that we worked on posted by 3:30 tomorrow.
3:30
See, if I go online, I mean, I could do it tonight, but I'm not, mainly because it's so late. But if I go online, I can post tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, and I can say, post at 12 o'clock. But I just said 3 o'clock because you know how things get really busy here. So that's why I said 3 o'clock. That will give me enough time to do anything else that I have to do.
Okay.
I'll put it on the website, like I said in my report, and we'll have it on the website. And then I can also put it under something called Newsflash, which is a quick posting. So when you click on the website, you'll see it under Newsflash, and it'll say vacant positions and whatever they are. Then it'll link you to the employment
Yes.
link.
So you said 3:30 p.m. tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am.
I can't exactly remember. What time did we say yesterday when we spoke?
I thought we was gonna have it on earlier in the morning.
Yeah, earlier in the morning.
Yeah. Well, I was unable to do that early today in the morning because I had other conferences, calls, and meetings. So
Okay.
how my schedule go. So
What is your schedule, if you don't mind me
asking.
asking?
Pardon me?
What's the schedule? You know, so I don't want to, put you
Yeah.
in a situation.
Well, based on my
where-
discussion with some of the new council members, you asked me for a core period. So I'm trying to make my core period from 10:30
Okay.
to 3 or 4, but as you may know, it may go longer than that. However, that's for 4 days a week. And usually, in the past, I have not been here on Fridays, and I would like to continue that, mainly because I have a 96-year-old mother, and I have to have a day where I take care of her.
Okay. Thank you.
You made mention that the announcement for, clerk to the council we had some applicants, some potential people that submitted applications?
Yeah, Ms. Tucker, Ms. Tucker, explain that for me. We use a new site called Indeed.
Well, that was my first time on it yesterday, and I saw names that was going past. I'm not really familiar with it, I just saw some names, they were missed people, they were job hunting. So, I'm still not clear, there was a lot of them. I clicked on a couple of them, but after I clicked on them, I haven't been back in to see
Okay.
what's going on.
Okay.
Okay, so you're gonna need to update on that.
Yeah.
Because previous, we had one applicant a while ago, but that didn't come from Indeed because I don't think we had even been using that site.
Right.
Okay,
So
so did we
there was one
interview
person.
that one applicant yet?
No, he was in Indiana.
Yeah.
That
So-
didn't apply for him.
So we don't have any other applicants?
Well,
that-
that's why she's saying she needs to check Indeed. If that was the place where she saw, it looks like a little trickle of hope, then she can check that to be sure, and she can probably get back to you. And I won't say it will be tomorrow, but probably before the week is out, to see if anybody responded from that particular site.
Okay, so if we potentially have some applicants who submitted applications, how soon can we, you or whomever, start interviewing to get this position
Okay.
filled?
Okay.
Immediately. Usually what happens is once we get applications, Ms. Tucker will pass them on to me. Ms. Tucker will contact them and schedule a date for the interview. So in this case.
Well, in this case, with clerk to the council, they will come to me.
They will come to me.
I take the applications, I review them, I get them ready for presentation because I present to the council.
Right.
So it really wouldn't be before probably work session, because that's the time that we have just a little bit of time to talk or plan. So Soon as I get those in, even if I get 2, say within the next week or so, then for work session, we should have them. But what I'm getting ready to say also is that on work session for June, we will not be holding a regular work session because that's during the time of MML, the conference. So we're gonna have to schedule a town meeting because basically our requirements are that we have a town meeting. So we will have a town meeting in June. We'll probably have to do I don't know how we'll juggle it so that we can get information together and pool it before we go to the town meeting. But we're gonna have to work on
This is for the
that.
applicants or just the town meeting?
No, this is just for everything that we need to talk about.
Okay.
Anything.
So then my next question, in your report, you talk about the light poles being out. Has Pepco addressed that issue? Because the town is dark. Where
At
are
one,
we with that?
at one point, that was one of the things I asked Mr. Lieutenant Ivy before he left, and he had sent me a list, so I contacted him. But I went out, and I do drive around town too sometime before I leave, to see, and even on this street, it's dark.
Right.
And some other streets, I think on Joss Street on K side is out. So I will contact Mr. Ruffin again tomorrow and ask him to look into that as soon as possible.
I got one more question, Councilman. And then my last question is, oh man, it just skipped my mind when you raised your hand. Give me 1 second, give me 1 second. Let me slow down. Light pole shows up. Never mind, I'll come back to it.
Oh, okay,
Apologies.
okay.
Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
My question, in talking to Mr. Ruffin, can it finally be asked if or when they can come into the community and cut the trees back? Because at the top of my hill, the foliage of the tree is almost to the sidewalk. You can't even see the light.
Okay.
The lights are within the tree.
Okay, what I need to do, okay, you're referring to the light, the light, okay, Pepco lights,
are
okay.
all entwined in
okay.
the
Okay,
tree.
I'll find out, you're referring to Pepco
They
light,
used
okay.
to come and cut them back.
They
Right.
will,
But
and they'll
they-
still do that. So,
Yeah.
council member, can you assist us with that also? Mr. Ruffin's number, I have it,
Okay.
call him on that and say that on 59th, near the top of the hill of
There's a
East
couple
Avenue,
of-
we have a tree.
Right.
Yeah, a couple of trees
Yeah.
that need immediate attention.
Yeah.
Right.
And he
right.
can probably get to it right away because basically they've been very good about cutting. They did here in the back of the building, they did down
Yeah.
on the other end of 61st, so I will give you his personal number. Okay, that'd be good.
Right.
That way we'll get that resolved.
Yeah.
That'd be
Remember my
good.
question.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
And this is for everybody. We get a report from the treasurer, we get one from the code enforcer, we get one from you, we get one from, the public safety, the police. Why don't we get one from Public Works? And I know you say you represent them, but every division head is here, or some representation of that division is here. Why don't we get one from Public Works?
could I meet with you offline because of the personnel issue? I would prefer answering that question offline.
I was
Yeah.
just wondering why we
And-
excluded
And
that.
I can answer somewhat on that. These reports are listed according to guidelines, regular meeting guidelines. And so Public Works is never really, we're talking about department chairs and, when we're talking about treasurer, that's a major department within our government. We're talking about the town manager, major department, police department, and code enforcement. Public Works is not in there. Somehow or another, code enforcement, because he falls under the police department. So he has a section for a report. And because of the fact that most of the time people have a lot of questions to ask, about code enforcement. So he has a separate report. But those are the items that are listed under the guidelines. And you'll learn this. You're going to learn this too when you go to MML. There are a lot of things that are going to be brand new to you. But you just learn, and you're not going to learn it all at one time. It's going to be a lot. And no matter how much you write down, how much you hear, whatever, it's a process. It is a process.
Yeah.
So yeah, you'll be getting more.
Thank you.
I had another question. I'm sorry. Mr. Gray, I don't know if this is specifically a personnel thing. What does Mr. Gray do specifically, if you don't mind me asking?
Mr. Gray, you talking about for
Yes.
recording?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does he do?
So actually, Mr. Gray is the person who has oversight and manage out Channel 11.
Okay.
TV station. That's basically what he
So
does.
he makes the advertisements for it, he edits them?
No, we have to send them, I sent you the information today.
Yeah, yeah.
We have to send information to him.
Okay.
Okay, and it has to be in a specific format, including to the website.
Okay.
I think it can be.
Do you format it or does he format it?
No, I said it has to be. So you can send a Word document, or you can send some JPEG. You can send things like that he can download and put it on the site.
Okay,
But if you, and I said this at every meeting, if you have anything that you want to send to Mr. Gray, send it directly to him. Or if you have a flyer or announcement, send it to him, and he will put that on Channel 11.
Okay, so he solely does Channel 11? Okay. So in terms of the recording,
Yeah, the recording.
then who's
right.
that?
That's
That's
his representative.
Mr. Gray.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Are the cameras,
They're running.
those are his cameras?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right, if that's, yes, council member?
I have a question. Can we revisit the uploading of the video footage or the recording of all the meetings?
Can you review them?
No, can we revisit that conversation that you mentioned from a time period until now, when it was uploaded?
Right.
Can you go back to the dates?
Yeah.
No?
Yes.
Okay. Can you see
Yeah.
the dates?
Yeah. You would have to come into my office.
I'm just trying to figure out why it takes so long for us to upload meetings that we previously had, that for him to send to you to upload it when we pay him to do it.
Okay. Now, before, okay, and let me make another comment. What I've learned about the Open Meetings Act is this, that if you upload and download YouTube, you don't have to have the minutes. So in the past, if you go and look on the website, we had minutes. Yeah, we recorded the minutes. But he was kind enough to send me all of the videos that go back to the last couple of years. So what I've been doing is sort of thumbing through all of the meetings to see if there are any meetings that we don't have either minutes or videos to update that. So that's what I've been working on. That's what I was working on today. Yeah.
And they uploaded it in the system? They have been uploaded?
Oh, no. No, I just said, I uploaded today everything from December to April. Okay, I uploaded that. Okay, then I went through all of the agenda and minutes, and I went through to identify what area or what dates were missing. So I'll start tomorrow with that, and maybe 4 or 5, not a lot, that's missing, and I will download those minutes or the information, put it on the website.
So is that all the town hall meetings that we've had that's missing, or just a few?
No, we've had the meetings,
The
Okay.
meetings that's been recorded, that's
Yeah.
supposed to be already updated in the system.
but they're in his YouTube system, yes.
So it's not actually updated up on YouTube?
Right,
And why
yes.
hasn't that been done?
You said, why has it, you mean today?
No, of all the meetings.
Oh,
But
okay,
since you're uploading them, but I'm trying to figure out why previously they haven't been uploaded.
okay. Because previously, we were using the minutes, the recorded minutes, and not, see, Mr. Gray only the video for this regular meeting, this meeting only, not for all the other, not for the work session,
I get that.
only this,
But the town hall meetings that we have had,
right.
have those been uploaded, or are you uploading that?
He has sent me to all the YouTube, and now I'm uploading
You're
it.
that's the question I'm getting to.
Yeah,
So you're
I'm
uploading all the meetings that's not uploaded in the
Right.
system, correct?
Right.
To what platform?
Huh?
To what platform?
Well, you're gonna have to talk to me, and when you say what platform, I don't know what you mean.
Okay, so is it, because I think this would clear up a lot of confusion, are you uploading it to YouTube or are you uploading it to the town website?
Uploading it to the town website.
Okay.
Uploading the YouTube to the town website.
See, yeah, that's a good clarity question.
Yeah. Okay, we're learning together. Like I
Okay.
told you, you helped me a lot yesterday.
And, council member,
My question, you're saying you had them from December to April, and they went to YouTube, but we're paying for Channel 11. Is it a reason why they're not on 11?
They are. They're on Channel 11. They are.
They just started.
No.
They hadn't
They-
been.
Yeah, they're on there.
No, they hadn't been. Because I've said they hadn't been.
Okay, okay.
Mm-mm.
But you know what I'll do tomorrow? I will compare everything that he sent me to what's on that TV.
Okay,
Yeah,
because it hadn't been.
yeah.
I think they come down each month. I think he updates it. I think they
That's
stay on the
great.
channel
Okay.
for each, I think they stay on the TV for a month. and
For a
then the new
month.
one comes
So
up.
it
Right.
hasn't been, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
no.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
For the clerk position, the clerk to the council position, is that the clerk to the council position and admin position, or that's just the clerk to the council?
Just clerk to the
Clerk to
council.
the council.
So we don't need an admin?
We still need it. Very much so.
Okay,
Very
so
much
we hiring for 2 positions, is that just one?
Well, see,
No.
we need to make sure that clerk to that like either administrative assistant or some title with an assistant's position to it is allocated for the new budget coming out. If we find out it's there, then we can proceed with getting that position filled also. There is a need, because we already know we have an issue with a lot of times, a lot of the calls not being answered, and a lot of other things that around here by having such a small staff. So it's gotta be appropriated in the budget, and then after that, we can move forward with the advertisement and everything else that we need
So there's gonna be
for it.
one position?
Well, no, you still gotta have the clerk to the council,
Council.
so unless it's combined, and we could do the 2 of them, it'd probably be ideal.
To do both? Correct. So it's gonna be a full-time or part-time position?
Well, see, we don't know that.
Wow.
It depends on what we can pay.
Okay.
It depends on what we can pay.
So this position has been posted up on the Fairmount Heights website as well as Indeed, or just Indeed alone?
No,
I think she put it
I'm
on
sorry.
Indeed. Go ahead.
Okay.
Where'd you
Yeah.
put it, Ms. Tucker?
Where'd
Only
you put
on
it?
Indeed? The position that you post? The position posted,
Rose,
you do that?
It's on
I think you-
Fairmont, it's on the website
It's on-
too.
Yeah,
The chief of police,
The clerk to the council.
council,
Okay.
clerk to the council.
yeah. And you posted with MML, right? Yeah. Yes.
Not yet.
Oh, not yet, okay.
No.
Okay, all right,
I had it
Okay.
on there. I had it on there, but it's off, so I don't read it.
okay,
But
Okay.
I put it on Indeed.
Uh-huh.
yeah, okay.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I think at this point, like I said, the issues that you all have questions about, if you please could start channeling some of those to the emails, and then schedule a meeting.
Yeah.
You know, schedule a meeting. Let's try to work out so that when we have our regular town meetings, we're gonna have questions all the time.
Right.
But at least we can have a smooth process, and it makes it easier for people to follow as we talk about it. Okay? So I wanna move on. Thank you very much, Mr. Norton. All right. We're going to move on down to our next agenda item. And Ms. Tucker, I would like for you at this time to read the information that's here, because this was definitely done by your position. The next section on an organizational meeting that was held. Read that into the record.
This is the summary of the meeting on May 16, 2022. We had an organizational meeting that was held May 16, 2022 at 6:00 p.m. The council members chose which committee they would like to chair. They also went into a closed session at 7:55 p.m. to discuss public safety coverage due to the emergency illness of the acting chief. They discussed public safety coverage by the county police and to continue the application process for the chief of police position. Ended closed session at 8:45 p.m.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, Ms. Tucker. All right, we're gonna move on down to old business. Under old business, we only have one item listed, and that was the final disposal of the COVID kits. We talked about in work session that our newest COVID kits here will expire in July, and 4 council members did take units of 25 each to give out to the community. Councilmember Wood Dotson, I know that on Saturday you have a program scheduled, so you can get with me probably tomorrow, because I'll be in the building maybe like about 1. And the number that you want to give, and some kind of sheet that you can record each person's name and guarantee that they're residents of the town. If you need to get 100 or whatever, you can just take them downstairs and get those disposed of. And then we still will have more. So we're gonna have to really either advertise more or proceed with that last method of getting those out, because we're running out of time. But what we do realize is that they were sort of late getting in. We've only had them a few weeks. So along those same lines, the quicker we can get them out and get them into everybody's hands, the better off we're gonna be. And I know that what happened before is that a lot of people were getting them from the schools, they were getting them from the postal service, they were getting them from a lot of different areas, so people didn't really need as much. But I think coming up at this point, pretty soon people are gonna start needing those because the numbers have begun to increase again. So we need to go on and just make some kind of mass decision as to what we want to do with them, other than just walking them door by door. How has the situation come about with, how is it coming along with the people that took those? Have you been able to get them out? You all got them all out?
Some not all.
Okay,
I'm
all right,
still working on
okay, all right. So we're gonna have to revisit that and soon because, you know, knowing that we have all these other things planned, it's gonna be hard to work it in. We can still go back. My suggestion was the rest of them, whatever we have, a large percentage we can give to every household that didn't receive one. That way we know that they're gone and they're covered, you know, because so many times people just haven't come forward to receive them. Because I sat down here for 4 hours on the last give around and only 3 people came. So, you know, it's gotta be a better method of doing that. So I'm waiting. Any suggestions that you all have, or if you want to follow up, you can always send me an email. I'm talking to council members. Okay?
It's gonna be hard to give a box a house,
Mm-hmm.
because in my own house, I would need 3 boxes. I have grandchildren, babies have to have it, my baby had it. I'm saying if you're gonna look out for the houses and not to allow the expiration date to come about and we are not using them, you know, you're becoming selective. And that's why a lot of people say they're not coming, because they don't want to be questioned like that. You know, they want them, but they need more in the house. A lot of them need at least 3, you get 2 in a box. They need at least 3 boxes in some of the houses.
Okay, I understand that part too, but I'm just going according to requests that the county had requested that we just give
A
one
box a house.
box per house and a mask. So, you know, so that was what they gave, and that was what we were trying to comply with. You know, because like you said, a lot of people have they have a lot of people in the houses, but they did not do it according to that. They did it according to per house. So like I said, if you come up with something different, let me know, because we need to make some kind of final decision on that. Okay, all right. At this time, I think most people are aware that we had the election, the regular town election for 3 council members on May 2nd. And the 3 council members that were elected were Councilmember Rakesha Barnhart, Councilmember Brianna White, and Councilmember Jacqueline Wood Dodson. If you all will come forward at this time, I'm going to swear you in. And I'm just going to randomly pick one, not by any special design. And the first one that I have is Rakesha Barnhart. If you would please come forward. And from there, yes, you can get over on this thing if you want to. If you would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name, raise your right hand.
I, Rakesha Barnhart,
Do swear or affirm
do swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
I will be faithful, pardon me, and I will be faithful
and I will be faithful,
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of
to
Maryland,
the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution
and support the Constitution
and laws thereof,
and the laws thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
and to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently
diligently
and faithfully,
and faithfully,
without partiality
without
or
partiality
prejudice,
or prejudice,
execute the office
execute the office
of council member
of council member
for the town of Fairmount Heights,
for the town of Fairmount Heights,
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and the laws
and the laws
of this town and state.
of this town and state.
Consider yourself duly sworn. All right, all right. You sign here. Okay, I'm gonna sign that. then you can sign. I'm like, the date is already there, you can sign right there with you. And then Mrs. Tucker will get a copy of it for you. All right, thank you. All right, you all give us some applause. Thank you very much. All right, all right. The next council member is Council Member Jacqueline Wood Dodson. You come forward, council member. All right. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jacqueline Wood Dodson,
Do swear or affirm
do swear or affirm
that I will support
that I will support
the
the
Constitution
Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
and that I will be faithful
and that I will be faithful
and bear true
and
allegiance
bear true allegiance
to the state of
to
Maryland,
the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution
and support the Constitution
and laws
and
thereof,
laws thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my
to
skill
the best of my skill
and judgment,
and judgment,
diligently
diligently
and faithfully,
and faithfully,
without partiality
without partiality
or
or
prejudice,
prejudice,
execute the office
execute the office
of council member
of council member
for the town of Fairmount
of
Heights,
the town of Fairmount,
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and the laws
and the laws
of this town and state.
of the town and state.
Consider yourself duly sworn. I'll sign first. Okay, you can sign there. All right, thank you. All right, here you are. All right, you all can give her some applause. Yes.
Come on, Bree baby.
And our final candidate. And if you would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Brianna White,
Do swear or affirm
do swear or affirm
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
and that I will be faithful
and that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland,
to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution
and support the Constitution
and laws thereof,
and laws thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill
to the best of my skill
and judgment,
and judgment,
diligently
diligently
and faithfully,
and faithfully,
without partiality
without partiality
or prejudice,
or prejudice,
execute the office
execute the office
of council member
of council member
for the town of Fairmount Heights,
for the town of Fairmount Heights,
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and the laws
and the laws
of this town and state.
of this town and state.
Consider yourself duly sworn. Yes. Yes. All right. And you all can get a copy. Okay. Give me a copy of it. All right, yeah. Well, give her some applause, y'all. All right, thanks to everyone. Thanks to the new council members. Thanks to the old. We moving with it. Yes, yes. All right. All right, we're going to continue down. And I have a few items to mention here under a report. The first thing I want to say is that during our next month's meeting, we will have to reschedule because of the fact that Maryland Municipal League Conference is early this year. So it's going to be June 15th, June 12th through the 15th. So that's going to include our work session and back-to-back town meeting night. So we're going to have to adjust the meeting date. We'll have to notify everyone. It's probably going to have to be near the end of the month, but we'll guarantee that we'll have one time that we will have a town meeting, but we need to get into the date selection and we'll know for sure. But I wanted to bring that out because I know people will be thinking that we're going to have work session, town meeting, and we won't really be here. And this time I am going to attend myself because we have a lot of new members, and I think it's important that I am down in Ocean City so that we can get the process moving. I can do it united with the new council members. So that is my purpose for going. I had actually stopped going for a while because I had been so many times. But I think this time I'm going to go. I want to support them in their quest for knowledge. You go down, you got a lot of people, you can ask as many questions as you want and you get tired of it, but you can learn a lot. You can really learn a lot. So that'll be great. I wanted to talk a little bit about April 25th, the visit that we went to up to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They had open house there, and they gave us the opportunity. They sent out an invitation saying, if you would like to come, please come and take a look at this fabulous building. We see this on the Beltway as we pass with the gold top, and I think they say at the top it's an archangel, somebody, I don't know who it is, but we went for that tour, but it was actually magnificent. I tell you, it was a very long tour, a couple of hours, you know, but it was so interesting. And naturally, what I was impressed by was the spirit of volunteerism. Everyone there, they were, you know, using their own time, and they did it seem like with such care and love. It was really a sight to see. And I found out that they have possibly 45 million members. So, I mean, I'm saying, well, they got it down to a science. Yeah, but it was great. It was great. It was a good time. And they came, you know, when you came in, they had like a little reception where you could have little snacks and some water, some juice, and whatever. So it was well worth the time. I enjoyed that. As far as Memorial Day this year, we were going to have a special program to whereas one of the council members used to work on having like the hot dogs, the hamburgers, and things like that, little sodas. This time we haven't gotten that down to someone else taking over that job, but we are going to have a time where we'll have a wreath laying. I talked with the representative from 3626, I think he is 3686, where Mrs. Robinson up on 59th was a member. They came here one day last week, and they're still going to come do the wreath, and they're going to call off the names like they always do of the fallen comrades, and you know, they go through their whole process. So that will be on Memorial Day at 10 o'clock a.m. It starts at 10. So we're going to try to make sure that's up on the TV station and up on the website. Mr. Rumi, I have to fill you in on that because I met with Mr. I met with him a couple of days ago, so that will be happening. Got the information a few days ago from Major Rickard from the Prince George's County Police Department. He said, Mayor, don't worry about us because we're going to be looking out for Fairmount Heights. He said he has a couple of areas that he has the most problems with, and I mentioned that in our meeting the other night, which is like Eastern Avenue, and he gets a lot of calls for Ebony Inn. But he said other than that, things have been pretty well anchored. They've had a few thefts here and there, but they are expecting to help us as much as they can, and I have seen the cars out much more than what they used to be. So I wanted to add that in, and he gave me his word on that. So I felt good about that. So I'm not going to really talk about too many other things. I'm going to move it along, and I want to give the council members the opportunity if they have something that they would like to report on. So I'm going to move. As a matter of fact, I'm going to start from this side tonight. So Councilmember Waiters is not here. I think Mr. Rumi gave some information on the Green Team and on economic development that would cover her to a certain point. So I'm going to move down to Councilmember Wood Dodson.
Good evening. This Saturday, downstairs, the closed bazaar will be again from 12 until 4. Anyone that have any used, nearly new, or clothes you need picked up, these circulated in the town. We're going to also send flyers out so that if you have something needed picked up, that can be arranged as well. Along with this, we're going to try to compose a day. There's several people that want to work with the kids in the community, so during this time, we're going to try to have a corner where girls as well as boys can come in and do arts and crafts. The lady's gonna come this Saturday, and she's donating a whole lot, which will help start off our 4-H club to bring more activities into the community for the kids. And that's
Okay. Councilmember Stewart, thank you, Councilman.
So one of the things that I've been researching and doing a lot of background research on was the speed humps for the town. And one of the things that every site I've gone to said we needed to do is a traffic study of the town and the streets to determine what streets will be eligible for speed humps. I will request through writing to the mayor to add that to the agenda so that we can request funding to get the speed study done. And what that speed study does is it prioritizes the streets throughout the neighborhood. So for example, I can say my street needs them bad, like we need speed bumps very bad on 57th Place. But Ms. Wood Dotson Street could have more car traffic, higher speed rates, and other criteria that will supersede my street being a priority. So that speed study will allow us to prioritize what streets, and then we can budget. So if we do, say, 7 streets one year, we budget for the next year, and we just keep going down that list that they provide us from the traffic study. So I'll be submitting that to add it to the agenda for next month's town meeting so that we can request that funding from the treasurer. I also found out on an average, speed humps could be anywhere between 700 to 6,900 a piece. On an average, $2,600 a piece. So that's why it's important we do get that traffic study. And then I would also like to add to in one of our town meetings, a citizen came up and requested information on where the 85th anniversary money went to. I think it was former Councilwoman Up requested that. And I will be submitting a request to the council mayor to have an independent law enforcement agency investigate that, where the money went. If we all agree, then I'll contact the outside agency and we'll find out where that money went. If not, then I'll leave that subject alone. That's all I have.
Okay. Okay. All right, Councilman, thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Barnhart.
Nothing to report at the moment, but I do have a task in front of me, a new assignment for us community involvement. Since I'm part of the community services.
No,
what is it?
Community programming development.
Community programming development. So I have to start my program from the ground up. So I'll be working on that. So I should have something to report next month.
Okay. Thank you. Councilmember White.
Hi. As we've just, kind of decided our interest areas, I've been doing a bunch of research all over places, and so to start off with while I was passing out the COVID test, which was an opportunity to talk to the citizens, there was a great need once again for the speed bumps. As we have, as they've been discussed over and over again, and also just getting, I forgot what you call it, getting quotes for these speed bumps and the nature of the prices, it's been very difficult for us. So I think we also need to look into the areas of, like I said, the traffic and speed pylons, which other towns very close to us use. I think Cheverly has a bunch of pylons, as well as rumble strips. If we cannot get quotes for speed bumps, or if they happen to become too expensive, there are workarounds that wouldn't be as permanent as speed bumps, that would still be, more effective. I believe I was reading a traffic study, and pylons reduce traffic by 75%. And this will also help with the areas where there are one-way streets that people don't respect the direction of traffic. You put them on one side of the street where in an emergency they can be rolled over, but they will, deter people from going down the street in the wrong direction. So those are a great addition and something to look into. But once again, circling back to passing out the COVID test, it was a great opportunity to meet our citizens and talk to people who really can't, sometimes they can't make it to meetings, but they want to be more involved or know the happenings. So I thought it was a really great time to communicate with our citizens, as well as, let me see, in terms of my area, it was decided that I would do communications, which I am very happy about. I have some experiences in marketing and communications, so I look forward to working in that area. Also streamlining and, our media and our, our digital ads and things like that to people, looking into new avenues, turning more things. Although the town, does have some older residents, it is, just in terms of costs and things, time to take a step into the future just to keep up with neighboring towns. So I will be working on that. Also updating certain things. So like in terms of branding, there needs to be certain visuals you see like on the station. There should be, just like when you're on ABC 7 or something, there should be like a nice, good logo in the corner, which we do not have an official logo at the minute. So that is something I'm very much looking into. That's a seal. I see everyone's eyes went over there. Those are seals. Those are used on memos, letters, things like that. If you were to put it on a t-shirt, technically that would be wrong. You gotta get a logo. So those are things we really need. In terms of also town colors and getting the RGB values correct, things like that are all the things we need to do to modernize, uniform the town, and make it look professional and bring it, into the future. These are all very important things, especially keeping up. We do have some older residents, but people are getting younger. We have younger families moving in. They don't necessarily want paper flyers. They get wet in the rain. They should be accessible to the, people who want them, but it's time we introduce QR codes, use more of our social media platforms, reformatting the website, using Nextdoor, really finding ways to communicate with our citizens. Those are all very, very important. So I'm glad to be working on those. And yeah, that's what I have.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, I think since we do have the other council members, we'll be able to sort of give a copy to those that weren't present, and so they can at least keep up with the agenda and what we actually covered tonight. And I'm going to move down. I'm going to move into public participation. Do you have any questions, Mrs. Tucker, from the chat, or is there anyone on the line?
No, I don't.
Is there anyone on the line?
I just found out we're not on the line. She's going live.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. So at this time, I will open the floor for the good of the organization. And if there's anyone who would like to make a comment for the good of the organization, you can come to the podium because we're recording. Come on up.
Nobody else raised their hand. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
Please excuse my appearance. I was working before I got here. I usually would try to take me a bath before I come in here. I apologize for my outfit today. I think I'm gonna say this right here. Being as though that we're in a situation with our police department, and all our thoughts and prayers goes out to Acting Chief Ivy. It ain't the same. It really ain't the same. But I do know one thing that he would say, you know, we need to just move forward. Move forward and make sure that we take care of our town. And I know last conversation I had with him was, you know, our coverage. I'm not sure to what extent that Prince George's County will service our streets. Now, I have been seeing them too, so I can't say they have been, you know, riding through. But I fear that with the summertime is here now, we're getting more people out and about, more people that's walking, riding bikes, scooters, four-wheelers. I mean, we starting to get it now. Fireworks are going all left and right. We don't know if they're gunshots or fireworks. I don't know what the budget is for. Getting a MOU with the police department as far as Prince George's County. I think the MOU would have us more secure than just having a verbal agreement with them. Like I said, I'm not sure how that is done, but as far as my understanding is the MOU is like a contract, and that would make them obligated to ride our streets. Like right now, you might see one ride down Eastern Avenue, 'cause those are the main corridors. But our streets have always been known as the back roads. Everybody cut through our streets. They doing things in our street like Ms. Dawson just said, Councilwoman Dawson said, our trees are overgrown, our lights, we got lights that are out. I called the police last week. I had a car sitting in front of my house. I said, you know what, I'm gonna give him some time. I'm gonna go ahead and take me a shower. By the time I get back, hopefully he gone. By the time I got back, he was still there. In his car. Couldn't find out, he was just sitting there drunk. You know, but these are the kind of things that we're gonna be seeing and more of. And I think that we need to go ahead and move forward and try to inquire or try to see what that would be like for us getting an MOU with the police department. Other than that, I think that you know, you all are on a good path of addressing things. I know right now it seems to be a little bit, you know, all over the place. But I'm gonna say this: change is good. Change is good, and sometimes making change, you have to adjust to it sometimes. And one thing I do know is this: God is with us. God is with us. You know what I mean? And as long as we stay positive and that negative and don't feed it, I don't think it will grow. I think we can move this town forward. And I don't think that the people here are here for no reason. I think we're here to move this town forward. No matter what some people's agendas may be, but guess what? You can't stop the will of God. All right, so I just want to say thank you all, and like I said, Lieutenant Ivy, everybody keep him in acting Chief Ivy. I'm gonna call him Chief Ivy. I ain't no acting. I'm gonna call him Chief Ivy. Keep him and his family in your prayers, please. Thank you. That's mine.
Thank you. One thing, when you were talking about the MOU,
Yes, ma'am.
were you referring to contact officers, or just what kind of plan? Because, you know, at one time, they did have the contract drivers, contact officers, where we would sign an MOU, and then you would have a certain amount of contract officers that would be assigned. Now, I can't remember, it seemed like we had like 2 at a time. And basically, that went on for about a year or so. The town wasn't really satisfied with it because they had become so complacent, what they would do, they would come and sign in, and I guess they would just float. And we also know that the county is shorthanded.
Right.
They're shorthanded, so all that has to be taken under consideration,
Right.
so, yeah.
Well, I can say this, I know people have a bad perception of Sea Pleasant right now with all the backlash they have, but I can say this, they have a small army over there, and they are jurisdiction all the way down Central Avenue. So if the county allows them to roam those areas the way they have, we might want to consider that. And this is a temporary thing. I'm not saying that we had to do this long term. I'm just saying that what we found out was going out in the community was people were saying that they're paying their tax dollars and they don't have no protection. And they're not getting their money's worth as far as the neighborhood looking a certain kind of way. So Ms. Walker just stated that we do have money. We ain't broke. I heard 1.4 million, but that's all I heard, 1.4 million. But I think that we need to go ahead and try to just, look into doing something like that to secure ourselves, because it's been already known that we only had one officer for almost 3 years. And a lot of our gangsters and, people that's out there doing things, they talk. They know where to do things and how to do things. So if we're gonna go ahead and make sure that our town is moving forward, you gotta have safety. That's like having a house without a front door. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. All right. Thank you. Is there someone else? Oh, that was you, Mr. Room. Raise your hand. Yes, ma'am.
Don't look over here. Hi.
How you doing?
All right. So my name is Keisha Merritt. I am the daughter of Jacqueline. What was it? Wood Dotson. We're gonna use Wood Dotson today. Wood Dotson. So first of all, I wanted to say, well, I went to school with Akiba. We went to middle school and high school, I think, right? We went to middle school and high school. Well, first I wanted to start by saying I am very excited. I'm excited with what I heard. I'm excited with the energy. And I'm not going to say I'm proud of you guys. I am proud. However, I expect this from you because you come from a thoroughbred community. So the expectation is that you would rise to this occasion and do what it is that you're doing. So I don't mean that to puff my chest, but I mean it because I know what we come from, right? Even if you just moved in this community, you know the people around you and how they work. And like Barnhart, we talk all the time about this stuff, right? About what our expectation is of this community. So it is time for new energy. It is time for, no disrespect to the elders, but it is time for a fresher outlook on the way things can be done. Brianna, I was very proud of you for where you talked about the digital footprint of where we need to be, because it does. That's nothing on you, Mayor, because you've done what you could for as long as you could with what you had to work with. But now you have hands around you to really help you and really help you build more of a foundation. And one thing that this town, this community really needs is more structure and more foundation. And I feel confident to say that I believe in you and I feel that you guys can really get it done. Just from hearing where you've started. You guys, is this your first meeting? No, this is your first public meeting?
No, I think this is our second public since it was partial because we had the regular first one since the new elected council members, those three came in.
Okay.
The other ones
Okay. But to come in and to be able to report the way that you're reporting and take accountability for the seat that you sit in now, that's strong, especially in our Black community. That's very strong. So I just want to say I took notice of that. Also, for me, I am a real estate agent. And I try to come back and do more business here, not just to sell the property, but to educate people on the process of selling, the process of not selling and why they shouldn't sell. I've talked to a few people off the cliff from selling their properties and why it's important to keep it and just refinance it and try to, work it out from there. One of the largest properties in this town, I just talked someone's daughter from selling that property and keeping it and learning how to, create wealth from that property. I told her I wouldn't disclose her name, and I'm not going to, because I've been helping her. But that's very important to me. I just sold a property is that 58th Avenue, on the same street as First Baptist of Fairmount Heights? That's 58.
58.
And one thing that I was really upset about, I think I shared this with Mr. Rumi, was that when they came, they were military, they came in with the VA, and they really wanted to be in the community, but they were upset because when they drove through certain, when you're going to buy a house, you want to drive around and see how it is. And I was telling Barnhart this, and they were like, why is this vacant? Or why are there abandoned cars in that big yard like that? Nobody says anything. We saw it a long time ago, but we came back. Why is that still like that? Y'all they just let it sit like that? Like, what can we do? I really don't want to move here and then have to do a whole bunch of work for where I'm living, and then there's a tax assessment on me and all this other stuff. So you gotta understand, you gotta be accountable for that. And sometimes I feel bad because I'm trying to talk them into moving here because I want people to come in these properties and do good, but it's hard because it's sometimes you feel like you're fighting the machine. So you just gotta understand that's a big thing. People wanna come in the community. And I remember I told my mother before, I said, if you don't hurry up and y'all don't get it together, the whole black historical thing is gonna be gone in a minute.
Yes.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Because even when I sit in meetings, real estate meetings, one thing that we really talk about, one thing you gotta understand is that the town of Fairmount Heights, you gotta understand the jewel that it is. It sits around, I think it's 5 subway stations that the most athletic person will take the option of walking to, or not taking an Uber and just taking a nice walk in the evening. Bus accessible. You can really walk, just a complete circle. You can walk around if you want to go take a walk in the morning. We have the school systems. Fairmount Heights is a brand new school, so you have that. Do you know what I mean? Solid brick homes are made here. It's like we're right down in the valley, right here, right there. So there's a huge value to that. And those are like when you check off boxes of what people want in a home, Fairmount Heights checks it off every single time. And it's right by Main Sheriff Road, right there by Main Addison Road, right there by Main Eastern Avenue. It leads right back to that. And people are looking, trust me, they're paying attention to Fairmount Heights. Even the county, they're paying attention to Fairmount Heights, to what they can use it for, how they can slither in and do stuff. So unless we stay on top of it and stay structured and build a foundation, you never know what someone can do or what they're plotting to do. So I'm involved in those conversations. So that's why I always come back and do my best to help when I can, because I know what it looks like, what the conversation looks like. So, but as long as you guys stay on the track that you're on, with staying focused and everybody has their lane and everything, I really do believe it will work. However, you just gotta stay focused. Gotta stay focused and stay community first. Because at the end of the day, even though you're in the community matters more than the positions that you're in. Like, they really, really do. They matter more. So, and I'm here whenever you need me, so I'll make sure everyone has my information. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all so very much. I think that unless there's someone else here for public participation, at this time, I'll accept the motion for adjourn. Yes.
We need to go into session with you guys for a minute for something financial.
Oh, you know what? Yes, and that's right, somebody requested also that we do are you all still trying to do this? Because we don't have any kind of, we would need to have a
No.
recording.
I think we're going to postpone.
Okay. All right, so, Mr. Walker, you need to do that too. So I guess we're gonna have to do this, we're gonna have to stay at least for this, to get this done though. So if you all could just take, is it gonna be a short executive? Okay.
Well,
All right,
short
can you all
executive-
hold?
We're gonna make a motion to close first.
Well, yeah, we're gonna make a motion to close, and then we'll do a short one, but it needs to be recorded, that's why I pulled this out.
Well,
But
who's
you know, whatever we
certified?
do now, we making
Yeah.
sure, we don't want any more of those long requests. So, let me see,
Mayor
today,
Martin, quick question.
I'm gonna close.
Are you certified to lead a closed?
I'm not gonna do it.
Okay.
I'm gonna let, who
Oh,
else is
no.
here?
No.
Waiters is the only
Oh,
one. We
that's
No
can't
one's here.
do it.
That's right, cause see, I forgot I used to do it, but since this what's name, I don't do it anymore. So,
That's okay, and I won't meet with everybody. I'll just.
you wanna break it up, just so, as long as you don't have, if you just do 2 at a time,
We can do
Well,
3 max.
well,
4 or
I tell you
more
what,
is
you can
too
do,
much.
you can do the 3 and then do the 2, can we just do 10 minutes or 5 minutes with one and 5 minutes with the other group?
That's fine with me.
Okay, all right. So I'm just gonna go and accept the motion to close the meeting. At this time, I'll accept the motion for adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
All right, can I get a second on that?
I second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded, we adjourn. The time is 9. All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. We are formally adjourned. Thank you all so very much for coming, and have a good night. Hello, how you doing? All right, thank you, Mr. Sheffield, for coming. All right. All right, sounds good.
Very excited.